Geeks, episode 345, September 27th, 2021. What happens when the damdemic and sci-fi collide? Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre. You name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane. We're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm sorry about the loud intro there. So I had to reload all of my sounds onto my iPad.
You got your sounds back.
I got my sounds back. Yay!
I should know I'm deaf from it now.
Exactly. Sorry about that.
Yeah, who needs the TGX, the THX logo when you've got that?
Exactly.
And I'm Ben Raggington coming to you from It's Fall. Autumn has, or is just about to arrive here in Phoenix, Arizona.
What?
When the temperature is below 80 degrees in the morning, it's autumn.
Oh, that's fall. Autumn. Autumn has fallen.
Yes.
Let's get on
that
with
should be
it.
a new song.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the two gay geeks are discussing this.
You're getting sound happy there.
We have really started off on a bang this time. Well, this time we are talking to author Parker Lorre, who has a brand new book out, and you can find out all the specifics in the article for this episode, as well as listen to the
interview.
The interview that we've got coming up. Have our birthday shout-outs, our podcast of the week, and a little bit of feedback, and regular shout-outs, and maybe if there's
time,
we have a very lengthy show this time, and then our regular shout outs, and let's get right to it. And we welcome to the show this time Parker Lorre, and she is an author and has a brand new book out. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So tell us, who is Parker Lorre, and give us kind of the elevator pitch of your life and how you got into writing, as if you were going to the top of the Empire State Building. So just that okay. Little elevator pitch, I assume it's a fast elevator.
So Parker Lorre is a pen name, writing under a pen name. My real name's Lorre, but got started in writing, about as some of my earliest memories really was funny. I'm came out as transgender a little over 10 years ago, and growing up, I grew up in a conservative town just outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. And so, really had in those days, sort of pre-internet, there was no resources available to kind of come to terms with this and to understand a little bit better what I was going through. There was one book in the public library there that was a case study history of trans patients, right? That they were reviewing and interviewing and looking at and studying over time. And I literally read that cover to cover with a science fiction book on top of it, because God forbid somebody should come up on me and see me reading, something like that. I wanted to have an alibi, right, built in. But, it was so eye-opening, right? That I would, find something like this. My God, there's people out there like me, right? Where are these people? How do I find these people? And obviously, as the internet burgeoned and became such a huge part of our lives, I was able to find additional resources and sort of, become more comfortable in my skin until, again, I was, found the courage to take that next step and live my authentic truth, almost 10 years ago. And so, but growing up again, writing was a great escape for me. I think I felt the need to constantly sort of be someone else, right? I wasn't sure how to process that yet. And so in finding myself, I sort of escaped into these other characters. And, my mom was a Radio City Music Hall rockette.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah. And how about that? And I, and subsequently went and owned a couple dance schools. And so I grew up in, in that environment. Full disclosure, not a dancer. So I had to find ways to preoccupy my time while I was in there. So right. Pen to paper, started writing these little stories, and it just sort of went from there. And I got into high school, had a wonderful English teacher who inspired me to, pursue this as a discipline, and just kept at it. I, also have an affinity for music. My father's was a professional musician in Las Vegas for many years, and so that sort of runs in the family as well. So followed in those footsteps, and it was always been sort of a 1-2 love for me. English was my first love, closely followed behind by music.
Cool. So this book that you have written and just released just this week, actually, depending on
when this episode airs.
Exactly.
Right.
Since we're time shifting again. We have to time shift sometimes when we take a little vacation on a weekend. But it was released the 20th, 21st, something like that?
So it's out. The ebook format is out already. It came out on Monday, the 20th of September. The paperback version will be out November 19th. I believe pre-sale should be going up for the paperbacks pretty soon, but it's an amazing feeling to finally have something that I've been working on for roughly 18 months to finally get out there. It's also terrifying,
right.
to expose kind of yourself like that to the world, but I'm excited to get this out there finally.
And this is your first published work, and when I say published, I don't necessarily mean you have a publisher, but you have self-published this, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. It was, and it was a great process, right? I was really impressed with the publisher, Book Baby, that I went through. They were very attentive. I was sort of surprised. I thought it was going to be sort of, very cut and dry experience, but it was. By the feedback I got and some of the suggestions, it was readily apparent that somebody had done their homework on that side and read the book in pretty short order. So I was very impressed with them, as a company. Certainly, I think the dream for a lot of writers is to find an agent and be able to go through a traditional publisher. But it's kind of an amazing time that we live in, right?
Exactly.
There's so many more options available, and we don't necessarily have, a select few people sort of, gatekeeping what they would think would be, kind of acceptable literature. Even though I feel this particular book is fairly mainstream. It was really a great experience all around.
And I think a clarification also needs to be made, excuse me, on your behalf, and that is just because a person is self-published does not mean that their work is not worthy.
Right. It's just you haven't found the publisher that wants to publish your work.
And it's not just that, but I mean, we know two authors who do go through publishers who are also doing self-publishing because they feel that is the best way to get this particular brand of work out there.
Yeah,
so there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, there are two different things that are going on there, and we are huge supporters of independent creators, as we always say in every episode. And independent films, independent writers, authors, all types of independent works are absolutely some of the most incredible work out there. It's just so. We talked all around this book.
So let's talk about the book.
What is the name of this book?
Yeah, well, I think when I sat down, obviously this was every writer would say, it's a labor of love, right? It's sort of cliche, but this really was born from the quarantine. I have a day job. I work a lot of hours, and while I try to fit my my passions and my loves in and around my work schedule, it was something that I wanted to I'd been thinking about for a couple of years, but the work from home model enabled me to actually find the time, rather than commuting 45 minutes and sort of being drained, coming home, running errands, doing all of that. The work from home model that we adopted in quarantine allowed me a little extra time at nights and on the weekends to work on this. And I, my educational background, I have, my bachelor's from UNLV many years ago. And actually a couple of years ago, went back, got my master's degree from Arizona State University.
Yay!
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Right.
Just down about a couple of miles from us.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Well, it's more than a couple of miles. It's
it's across town.
It's across town, yeah.
Well, then, I don't know. Yeah. No, and they were fantastic, made a lot of great connections there, met a lot of great people, was able to do part of my master's degree at the University of Oxford in England, which was amazing.
Oh, cool. Wow.
Yeah, and it was, I fell in love with England, probably going to go back, potentially be an expat someday. I don't know. No, I really fell in love with it, and can't wait to go back once things sort of normalize here from COVID. But getting back to the COVID situation, again, I had some time to be able to write this, and I thought, well, got to walk the walk here, kind of up my street cred to publish a book, which is what I want, sort of always wanted to do, and what resonated with me in the story was that I've found over the, obviously the last couple of years in particular, but just, really over the last 10 to 15, that there's been this sort of increase in ugly discourse on the internet, right? This pointed vitriol. And being a trans woman, it's interesting because you're acutely aware of binary sort of thinking, right? Man, woman, black, white, these kinds of things that have sort of been socially ingrained in us. And, life, as I'm getting older, I realize life is just not like that, right? It's always shades of gray. There's nuance. Exactly. And that definitely gets lost in the dialogue, certainly on the internet, and it's, my way is the right way. Everybody else, can take a hike, and it's gotten so ugly that I really felt like I wanted to write something or put something out there that was the complete opposite. And so what I set out to do was to create these characters in a situation that, again, it's set in a sci-fi setting. It's a high school on a asteroid here locally, but in the grand scheme of things, the Milky Way, the Earth is kind of sitting, and our solar system is sitting on a spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, so sort of remote, right? If you were an alien species. We're sort of out there in the sticks a little bit. So
that explains a lot about us.
it kind of does, right? You can hear the banjo going in the background. Welcome to Earth. But
oh my God, we're all playing banjos now.
And but what I wanted to do was not to create something that was so artificial, and that it was positive and hopeful, that it didn't reflect real life, because certainly these characters have gone through some stuff. Each one of them has experienced a crisis in their lives. They're not necessarily the best students in this high school in outer space, but by coming together, by forming these friendships, by sort of opening themselves up to new ways of thinking, they were able to find strength from that and to grow and to learn. And so it was very important for me to create something that really it lent the reader this sense of optimism, because I now live in the Pacific Northwest. 2 summers in a row, we've had massive wildfires. The seas are literally boiling, and it's scary, and it's hard not to kind of internalize those things and and let it bring you down. Like, gosh, are we gonna make it? Are we gonna actually get out of this? And for me, the answer always fundamentally is yes. I think there's enough good people on this planet, people that are willing to set aside their differences, or at least be open to differences.
Exactly.
To kind of embrace the change that's going to be necessary for us to advance as a race of people. And so really, again, it was just to sort of counteract a lot of this negativity that we see so much in our in media, social media, and these other outlets, and create something that was that gave us a little bit of hope.
Well, and the name of the book is Helios High.
Correct.
And I actually started reading that. I've gotten a couple of chapters in. I'm fascinated by it. I will say that your geeky, nerdy credit is definitely on full display.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
All of the little.
Are there a lot of little tips of the hat?
Oh my gosh! Tips of the hat. She's knocked the hat completely off your head.
Yeah,
with some of them.
No, it was fun. No, absolutely. There's a lot. Obviously, you write what you know. Another cliche, but I'm definitely poking fun at myself in certain spots. There's a character in there that does an essay. I think in the first chapter or two that about his massive collection of action figures, which
yes.
I'm going to have to go on record as saying that is pretty much direct reflection of the writer. Sadly or not sadly, or enthusiastically, I have a whole room dedicated to my sci-fi obsessions. So, and I've almost grown out of that room. It's sort of like if I can keep it just in the one room, I feel like it's not. It's not become a problem yet, but it's starting to seep out a little bit. It's getting a little embarrassing. So yeah, I probably need to dial that back.
Honey, that's nothing like our Disney collection and artwork all over our house. You're in good company.
Everybody's got something, but yeah, exactly. So there's, to your point, that I absolutely have, things in the book that are a reflection of my life, and not just the fun stuff too, but some of the the darker sort of tougher things that these characters have gone through. I was probably pulled from my life somewhere.
I was wondering if some of it may have been a little cathartic, and in the way certain things are written. And just to understand that emotion that you're writing about.
And then as you pointed out earlier, when you were deprived of the internet and those kinds of online resources and online community, what did you have? You had writing because it served as a form of therapy. So it kind of makes sense to see that would actually sort of end up in the printed page, if you will. Go ahead.
No, yeah, that's absolutely correct. This was a catharsis and something that, I was able to kind of work through some things, right, vicariously through these characters. Not to give too much of the book away, right? But, again, these kids, the book starts out where these kids are in detention and they're in there for a reason. But, most of the time I find that children and people don't necessarily act out because they're bad people. They're acting out because they have gone through some stuff, and
they're not understood.
Right, and they don't know how to process that in a healthy way. And again, getting back to the trans experience, right? This book potentially could have come out many, many years ago, albeit not in the same kind of format. Maybe might have looked a little differently because I think age has sort of informed it a little bit as well. But when I first was sort of processing what it meant, gender identity and what it meant to be, potentially this person and how that might affect the people that I love in my life and my friendships, I didn't do a very good job of that, right? I didn't, unfortunately, kind of found some, unhealthy excesses, primarily drinking, to sort of self-medicate. And, it was just because I was so fundamentally unhappy, and I was, probably doing things and behaving in certain ways at that time that just were not presenting myself in the best light, right? As you find yourself, as you become comfortable in your own skin, your confidence level grows exponentially. And so so much of kind of what I've gone through, is probably in there somewhere or part of, the character's makeup that you'll find as you read this. But I feel like to be anything less than completely transparent and honest, even though it's allegorical in some ways, right? It's a science fiction book, would be a disservice to the reader. And so I wanted to invite them in and to kind of share that experience and let a lot of kids know that are maybe potentially going through something similar, that it does get better, right?
And I'm thinking too, because with a lot of the genre type books that I read, whether it's sci-fi, fantasy, paranormal, it doesn't matter. I find that if there are no characters that I can actually relate to, that if I cannot associate with them in some fashion or another, then I'm going to lose interest. I mean, you could have the best told story around there, but if the characters are not relatable, if they don't resonate with me in some fashion or another, then I'm lost. The book just loses interest for me completely. So it's good that you're able to write characters in such a way that they do come off as relatable to somebody. There is a representation of a real demographic of people here on Earth today that can look at that and say, yeah, I see a little bit of that in me.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic point, and that's absolutely true. And one of the things that I definitely set out to do as this book was sort of coming together, and I got to understand who these characters were a little bit better through the various rewrites. One thing that sort of emerged for me was, I definitely wanted to normalize the LGBTQ experience, right? I mean, even today, and again, what was it, 2015, 2016, where, we finally, the Supreme Court had, announced that marriage equality was legal and standing in the United States. We still today, some people in certain corners still try to bifurcate those two things, right? It's marriage and it's gay marriage. It's marriage. There is no, I don't like to see the separation. I want to normalize that. And so what I set out to do in this book was, science fiction offers, a fantastic medium for that, right? To normalize things, because in outer space with these multiple cultures and different kinds of, worldviews coming together and having to coexist and cohabitate, they're not going to care about that. That's a thing that's just out there, and it's identity and these kinds of things take on so many different shapes and forms that this would very much be kind of low-hanging fruit for them. They're much more interested in technology and and advancing themselves for the betterment of the galaxy, right, rather than just this sort of myopic view of society.
Right. Mm-hmm. I'm going to steal my husband's question.
Oh, here. You're going to steal it from me, huh? How nice of you.
Go ahead.
Well, you said something a moment ago that kind of made me sit up, and you talked about how the story could have come out earlier. It went through some rewrites, and as you understood the characters better. So this brings a question that I always ask of every single writer. And generally the answer is pretty much the same, but as you started to come, especially this final version of your book, did you find the characters come alive in your head to the point where they started talking to you and you felt like you were taking dictation?
It's funny because, for somebody who doesn't maybe do this or dabble, might sound a little crazy, but it was that. I'm actually currently writing the sequel, and it was one of those where it came to me like in a dream, literally. Some of the plot points and elements of the next book. Spoiler alert: there will be a next book, but It was like that. It was like they were literally reaching out to me, and I was having a conversation about it the other night with my mom, and we were talking about that, and they really have become like family members where I actually care about them. And as I'm crafting the next, chapter, if you will, the next, book, I have to sort of weigh my obligations as a writer, in crafting something that's meaningful and will hopefully resonate with readers on different levels, with my love of the characters, right? I can't protect them but internally, I kind of am feeling that way. I'm feeling very motherly about these people, and I want to see them succeed. But as we know, life is tough, and they're going to have to go through some stuff, and some of it might not be all that great. But in the end, I was finding that I was having to kind of balance that, right? What's best for the book versus what's best for these characters who I've effectively adopted and grown to love over the last 18 months.
Well, we have several author friends that routinely argue with their characters. So, because the characters try to steer the book in a certain way, and then they say, when they finally say, okay, well, have it your way.
Yeah, when the characters get their way, so finally the writing manages to pick up again. But wow, and one author friend, she said to us very early on that she would never trust another writer where the characters did not speak to them. So that's good to know.
No, that's an interesting. That's a great point. I hope I've gained the characters' trust. I feel that I have. Certainly, I have their best interests at heart. But again, want to make sure that it resonates with the reader on a level where it doesn't come off as artificial, right? And so, how do you balance that, right? The optimism and hopefulness would sort of suggest that the heroes sort of always win the day. But the older I get, the more I realize sometimes that doesn't always happen. And you got to kind of learn how to deal with, with loss and to pick yourself up and not sort of let it consume you, right? And interestingly enough, again, don't want to give too much of the plot of this book away, but it really focuses on loss and how people process that and how they move forward. And so most of the main characters, deal with that. And what happens when somebody doesn't deal with that in a positive or healthy way? And what does that make them? It's easy to sort of write a character that might be, this sort of hackneyed mustachio twirling, villain that's tying the damsel to train tracks. But why is this person doing this? Why is this person compelled to do that? Unless he's just a jerk. But what motivates this person to become that? And so I think that's important. And if you can kind of create a compelling case for why that person might be less villainous and more kind of pathetic, or empathetic, I think that's you're doing that character a service.
True. Well, we are up against the red line, so I'd love to talk to you more because I think there's so much more ground we need to cover. But in the meantime, you've got your book out. Where can people find it?
Right now, it's available on Amazon.com. You just type in Helios High or Helios High book, and it'll pop right up. Again, as we mentioned at the top there of the interview, it's in Kindle version at least for now, but should be available. Paperback should be available, which I'm very excited about because I'm a tactile reading kind of gal. So I can't wait for the paperbacks to come out, but those should be available in a few weeks. Also available on Barnes & Noble, Scribed, if anybody has a membership to that. And eventually, I think PALS, which I'm excited about being in the Pacific Northwest. Shout out to the fabulous PALS bookstores and a whole bunch others. I don't have the entire list here, but should basically be able to find it pretty much at all major retailers. I would say within a few weeks.
Cool. And is there any sort of internet social media presence, like a website by which people can go to, for you, or do you have a social media like a Facebook or a Twitter that people can follow you on?
No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa, yeah, okay.
No, I have a Twitter. Everybody can certainly reach out to me. It's Lorre, LV Lorre. So you can find me there. I'm also on Facebook. And probably we'll be getting some more platforms out there. I gotta get hip, guys. I gotta do the TikToks and the whatever the kids are doing these days.
Exactly.
I gotta start to really put myself out there a little bit better. But absolutely, Twitter, Facebook. I'd be more than happy to chat you up if you reach out.
We would be banned from TikTok. We're too old.
Oh my God, yeah.
Is there an age limit?
I don't.
There should be.
I'm afraid. Yeah,
there should be, and it should, and we should be, way past the cutoff age.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for being on our show this time.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk shop a little bit, and again, looking forward to the whole full slate of sci-fi stuff that's coming out. We live in a fantastic time, so lots more out there coming up.
Yeah, take care.
You don't need to hear their identification. They're the Two Gay Geeks. They can go about their business. Move along.
Well, that was quite an exciting interview.
It was a great conversation. I look forward to reading her book.
Yeah, I picked it up. I'm on like chapter 4 or something like that, and it really is. It has intrigued me so far, and I think that it will continue to do so. So here's a few selected birthdays for September 27th through October 3rd, 2021. September 27th, Sean Cassidy, actor, son of Jack Cassidy and Joanna or Shirley Jones. Sorry.
Yeah. Not going there.
Not going there.
No.
Oh, come on. I was trying to play
He's
with
David
you.
Cassidy's younger half-brother, and that is a fact.
That's a fact. He was actually in the Hardy Boys mystery, Hardy Boys / Nancy Drew mysteries, and actually is a producer now. So
he was a really good singer in his day.
Yeah, exactly.
A fabulous baritone voice.
Yep. Gwyneth Paltrow, actress, Sky Captain, as Polly Purebred or whatever.
Oh, she's a dog.
Yeah. And Iron Man in the
She's
Marvel,
Mrs. Iron Man.
Mrs. Iron Man in the Marvel movies. Pepper Potts. Doesn't she market like the coochie candle or something like that?
Yeah, we're not going there.
Okay.
But yeah, she does.
I see. Okay, and then we have a friend of ours who is actually a producer of a show, Johnny Ingram. We can't wait for
season
We're
2.
Here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for that. Ellen Hinkle, Daniel Franks, Stephen Barrett, Kitty Brin, and Jason Drogo. September 28th, William Wyndham, actor, a staple of 60s and 70s television.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my Lord. Including the Star Trek episode Doomsday Machine, which
regarded
was
as probably one of the best of the classic episodes.
Oh, my gosh. What an episode.
Fantastic episode, and he was great in that one.
Oh, yeah. I met him, it was either 76 or 77, when he was doing a one-man touring show of The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Mm-hmm. And just a really nice guy. Ed Sullivan.
What a show.
Yep. Let's get on with it. TV variety show host from 1948 to 1971.
Yeah.
A really big show.
Well, it was the ultimate variety show.
Yeah.
And of its day, of any day. And it had a... Without the advent of cable television being what it is now, when we were like stuck with just 3 networks,
yep,
it was having the Ed Sullivan Show was like the perfect thing to have.
Yep, Sunday nights. He introduced America to some who would go on to really hit it big, namely
the Beatles.
The Beatles, Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
And opera singer Roberta Peters appeared on his show 67 times.
Oh, I didn't know she was an opera singer.
Yeah, I know.
I'm joking.
And then we have a friend of ours, Paul Nicolassi. September 29th, Madeline Kahn.
She should have been an opera singer. My God, what a voice.
She was an operatically
That's true.
trained
She was trained.
Yeah, and funny woman. Oh, my gosh.
Fabulous.
Some of her best roles were in the Mel Brooks films, Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein. Oh, my gosh.
She was a delight in those. It's Two. It's Two.
It's Two. It's Two. Lily von Stupp.
Yes.
And then we have Rainer Weiss, American physicist, known for his work in gravitational physics and his invention of the laser interferometric technique.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Which is the basic operation of the LIGO, the LIGO, that looks for gravitational waves.
Oh.
Yeah. So that I just read an article the other day that they discovered a gravitational wave from some massive black hole that was eating a neutron star or something.
Yeah. I heard about that.
And then we have Nicholas Briggs, actor and writer, known as the voice of the Daleks in New Who. Mm-hmm. You can find some of his YouTube videos.
Cindy New Who?
Cindy New Who, yes.
I had to do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't.
I am too. Tired. Some of his YouTube videos of him doing Dalek voices and how he does them and how he puts them all together and all that kind of neat stuff.
I wonder if anybody has petitioned him to actually do like voicemail for him.
Well, he's actually done a lot of short films, voices in short films for folks. And
really?
Oh, yeah. You should see his IMDb credits. There's lots of short films and lots of independent stuff that he's done as the Dalek voices. So,
I'm willing to shell out some, a decent amount of money if he would do like a voicemail for us. That'd be terrific.
Yes. And then friend of ours, Kate Hanselman, September 30th, Ezra Miller, actor, Fantastic Beasts. He was Flash, Barry Allen in the DC Films universe, and also in The Stand as Trash Can Man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, weird character there. Trained as an opera singer at a young age to overcome a stutter.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And identifies as non-binary and uses they, their pronouns. And then we have Katrina Law, actress, Arrow,
Adore
Nissa
her.
Al Ghul. She was in Hawaii Five-0 and NCIS.
We got to interview her.
She's also a cat lover.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice to know.
You can look up her interview in our archives.
Yeah, we need to look that up.
Yeah. And then a friend of yours or high school classmate of
high school
yours,
classmate of mine.
Jackie Taryn Rankle. October 1st, Brie Larson, actress. Captain Marvel has been acting since she was 11 and used to make home movies as a child and enlisted her cousins to appear in her home movies. Then we have Julie Andrews, actress, singer.
Oh, please.
Sound
what
of
needs to be
Music,
said?
Victor Victoria. Oh, my gosh. Just brilliant. And married to Blake Edwards. And then we have one of our troopers, Andrea Richoff, who's been doing a fabulous
Bang-up job on the reviews.
On reviews
during
films,
this
the
damdemic.
Yeah. And then filmmaker filmer.
Yeah.
What? Filmmaker friend Monica Demis and Jeff George and our brother-in-law, John Calvin Hill.
Right.
Happy birthday,
Happy
John.
birthday.
October 2nd, Avery Brooks, actor, the Cisco in
The
Deep
Cisco,
Space
yes.
Nine. He was a musician. He actually has a Master's of Fine Arts from Rutgers University and was a professor during the production of DS9. He would sometimes videotape his lessons still in uniform.
No, oh man, I bet his classes were like packed at that point.
Yeah. And Persis Gambata, actress, Ilya V'ger Automaton in Star Trek The Motion Picture, was Miss India and actually published a coffee table book about the history of Miss India.
She was so beautiful, and what a tragedy that she died too soon.
Just sadly died of a heart attack in 1998 at the age of 49.
She wasn't that old, I know.
Wow.
It's awful.
And Sting, singer, police, actor
Suspected
also.
murderer.
Yes.
I'm joking. That's from a TV show.
Oh, yes. And he was in Dune and it has been in 2 episodes of Only Murders in the Building.
Right.
Where he was suspected of murder.
Of having killed somebody's dog.
Yes. And then friend of ours, Ray Shalachi and Stellar Miller. October 3rd, Denis Villeneuve, director, Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, please. Dune.
Dune. And his all-time favorite film is 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I can believe that, yeah.
Yep.
He's a bit of an auteur.
Yes. And then we have Lindsey Buckingham, a musician.
Fabulous guitarist.
Yeah. What was he a little band?
Meatwood Flack.
Meatwood Flack, yeah. There we go.
That sounds really disgusting. Now that I said it, I take that back. Ouch.
Edit that out.
Yeah, no kidding.
Fix it in post. Fleetwood Mac. And anything else you want to say about Lindsay? Doesn't he have an unusual style of playing?
He has a very unusual style of playing. He does not use a pick. He finger picks everything, and even with the fast strumming that he does, and it's like how he doesn't shred his fingers, I don't know, but that's how he likes to play. And I've heard him play some more classically oriented riffs, and I've come to realize that he's highly underrated as a guitarist.
Interesting. And that's it for the birthdays. We rushed through them this time.
Hi, this is Kevin.
And this is Jason.
And we're the co-hosts of The Bright Side with Kevin and Jason, your weekly comedy about tragedy.
Every week, I teach Kevin about some tragic event in history, and then we find the bright side to it.
And every week, I learn from Jason something I wish I never knew.
You can find our podcast anywhere you find podcasts.
That's The Bright Side with Kevin and Jason, your weekly comedy about tragedy.
Go give a listen to our friends Kevin and Jason over at the Bright Side
I
Podcast.
love those guys.
Yeah.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
The Joshua Tree Feeding Program is a 501c3 nonprofit food pantry for the HIV and AIDS community in Maricopa and Pinal counties. JTFP offers a place where clients can select from a wide assortment of nutritional foods to take home. They set it up like a store so the clients can pick and choose the foods they prefer, and it empowers them to take only what they want so no food is wasted. They also have a second distribution time for those in the gender non-conforming community that may be experiencing food insecurity regardless of HIV status. They are an all-volunteer organization, yet they still have lots of overhead that they have to take care of, so they could use your help. Please consider supporting Joshua Tree either with a single or a monthly recurring gift. You can do that by going to jtfp.org.
And it's time for our feedback. These are comments that we got in response to articles that we ran on our website, and the links for each of these will be in the show notes for this episode number 345 at tggeeks.com, starting with regarding Hamish Downey's 5 Questions with Rebecca Otoa and Karen Lee Tawarayama, co-editors of Structures of Kyoto. We got a comment from Karen Lee Tawarayama, and she says, "Thank you for sharing." And Hamish Downey had to chime in on that, and he says, Ben and Keith are the salt of the earth.
Are we?
Certainly
I want
hope
to be
so.
the pepper.
I was going to say I want to be the pepper.
I want to be spicy.
Yeah, I want to be the cinnamon of the earth. Moving on, regarding TG Geeks episode number 342. This is where we got to interview the people, the showmaker. That'd be the, Corey DeMeyers, who made made the short film Danny Boy. We got a comment from Danny Boy Short Film from Twitter saying, "This is great. Thank you." Then we got a comment from Patricia Chica. She was the person who got us all put together so that we could interview Corey. And she says, "What a phenomenal interview with Red Bull champion athlete Corey DeMeyers this was. Talking about his short film Danny Boy at Holly Shorts Film Festival. I find the TG Geeks voices very soothing, and their questions always get the best untold stories out of their guests. Thank you, Keith Lane and Ben Raggington."
Thank you.
Wow. Then I'm going to inverse these, because we also got a comment from Corey DeMeyers in response to that, and he says, "Thank you so much for connecting us, Patricia. Keith and Ben are awesome."
Yay.
Moving on, we got a comment from Arkle. He had to say something about our birthday segment from that episode. He says, "The birthday segment just made me realize that less than half of the cast of the original Alien is still with us, and now I'm sad." Yaphet Kotto being the most recent to pass away. That is correct. The only 3 still alive are Sigourney Weaver, Tom Skerritt, and Veronica Cartwright. Everybody else is gone. How depressing. Moving on. Got a comment from Susan Martin. Is that Polite? Politi? It was her birthday. She says, "Thank you, guys." And then we got this final comment from Corey Lynn Nelson. We had said happy birthday to her late husband, David. He passed away a few years ago. She said, "Thank you so much for remembering David's birthday in your shout-outs. I was listening to this episode in the car with our son, Paul. It meant a lot to us. As hard it is that he is gone, we do celebrate his birthday each year together." And that is our feedback.
If you want to leave a comment on anything that we publish, whether it's a podcast episode or one of our articles, you can do that. You can do it on our website at tggeeks.com, our Facebook page where everything is published to. Twitter, Instagram, everything publishes there. Or if you want to just comment on an episode, you can do that on our YouTube channel. We also have, A listener feedback line. Yay, and it's getting dusty. and cobwebs and all of that. We'll have to blow those off and
Vacuum
your message.
it up.
You can leave a message and we'll play it on air. You can call 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice. Everybody knows we are huge supporters of independent creators, whether filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or others. Please visit all of their social media, their websites, their Twitters, all that stuff. Buy their stuff, talk to other people about their stuff, and just support them by talking about them, talking to them even. It's amazing. You can find out some wonderful things from them and become friends. Please support independent creators. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by TransLifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
What was that thing that you were looking at earlier?
Oh, that was a picture of a praying mantis, but a very weird one. That it takes on this pose that looks like some alien creature with
it looked
big,
like some bird
nasty,
or something over there.
It
posturing.
Yeah, well, someone had asked the question, where is this praying mantis found? And I took a look at it and I thought, probably Australia.
Yeah, and that's our second segment since we don't have any more time left.
And it's time for our weekly review. These are the items that we ran on our website at teachgeeks.com this past week. And the links for each of these news items will be in the show notes for this episode number 345 at tggeeks.com. Starting with Sunday, September 19th, Nerdy Chupacabras number 66. On Monday the 20th, TG Geeks episode number 344. On Tuesday the 21st, Steven Spielberg's West Side Story trailer. On Wednesday the 22nd, The Gotham Week Project Market selects Brother Man by Patricia Chica. This is a film that she's working on. We're very happy for her. On Thursday the 23rd, Andrea's Angle, Dear Evan Hansen, has false writing beats but excellent performances. On Friday the 24th, Hamish Downey's 5 Questions with Doug Probst, a.k.a. Sean Mayotte. And on Saturday the 25th, This God Made, hosted by Carlton Tetley, Season 3, Episode 5, Lost Girls.
Oh, my.
Have some shout-outs that we need to make. First to Brian Weber, also known as Arkle, good friend of ours. We've known him for years. You can find him on Twitter as Geek of All Trades. That is G, the number 3, K-A-O of all trades. His name on Twitter is Brian the Ampersand List YouTuber. You can find him that way. He also has his Arkle Times Post Dispatch News, which is there. Find him on Twitter, and you can then subscribe to the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News. And while you're looking for all things Arkle, go to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Arkle Studios. He has a number of his projects there. His Shameless Cash Grab series, which has wrapped season 6. His Rants vs. Zombies series, which has officially ended, but past episodes are always available. And he has his Arkle Tier Ranks, where she ranks various things, as well as game videos of Trick and Treat and Star Trek Online. We must also give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles to their pages. First, the Gay Geeks After Hours. Big thanks to their moderators for saying that we could share away our content there. And their URL is facebook.com/groups/Gay Geeks After Hours. And then to The Gay Geek for pretty much the same. And the URL is facebook.com/groups/The Gay Geek. And always, we give special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Other places we can be found are Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Amazon Podcasts, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Sci-Fi Radio at 3 a.m., 3 p.m. Pacific Time for a replay of this show, and listen to their other content. They're a 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And that should do it for this train wreck of an episode. And us, the interview was great.
Interview's fantastic.
The rest of the episode was a train wreck.
Well, we got to think about that.
Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We're going to have several things on there, links to things that we mentioned in the podcast. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. From TG Squared Studios, I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated, please. Peace.
Cheers.